Hi, everyone. So today I thought I'd do something a little different and show you my evening routine. And along the way, we'll pick up some really natural, everyday English. The kind of phrases you won't necessarily find in a textbook, but that native speakers use all the time. So actually, let's rewind slightly, because my evening technically starts on the walk home from the station. It had been a long day at work, and honestly, I was absolutely shattered. To be shattered is a really common informal British way of saying you're extremely tired, much stronger than just tired. I'm shattered is what you'll hear from almost everyone after a long week. On the walk home, I popped into the little shop near my flat. To pop into somewhere means to go in quickly, usually for a short errand. So I popped into the shop to grab a few bits. A few bits is another very British phrase. It just means a small, unspecified number of items, usually small things like snacks or toiletries. I just need to grab a few bits from the shop is something you'll hear constantly here. While I was there, the queue was quite long. A queue, by the way, is what British English calls a line of people waiting, whereas in American English, you'd usually just say line. The queue for the till was so long, meaning the checkout took a while. Anyway, I paid, said a quick cheers to the cashier. Cheers is used far beyond just drinking. It's an incredibly common casual way to say thank you in Britain, and then carried on home. Okay, so it's about 6 o'clock now, and I've just gotten home from work. The first thing I always do is kick off my shoes. So to kick off your shoes just means to take them off quickly, usually because you're relieved to be home. I kick off my shoes, and then I like to get changed out of my work clothes. So I'm going to get changed into something comfortable, maybe some joggers and a hoodie. In the UK, we say joggers, but in the US, you might hear sweatpants. Same thing, different word. Right, now that I'm comfy, let's head into the kitchen. I need to sort out dinner. To sort something out just means to deal with it or organize it. So I need to sort out dinner, which basically means I need to figure out what on earth I'm cooking tonight. Let me have a look in the fridge. Okay, so we've got some chicken, a few vegetables, and I think there's some rice left over from last night. When food is left over, we call it leftovers. That's a noun, by the way. I've got some leftovers in the fridge. Very useful word, that one. I think I'm going to whip up a stir fry. To whip something up means to make something quickly without too much fuss. So I'm going to whip up a quick stir fry with the chicken and veg. Let's get chopping. Okay, so while that's cooking, I just want to mention a lot of you have been asking about my accent and where I'm from, so I'll do a proper video on that another time. But for now, let's get back to the kitchen. So I'm just going to chuck everything into the pan now. To chuck something means to throw it, quite casually. It's a bit informal, so you wouldn't use it in a job interview, but with friends or at home, it's really common. Just chuck it in the bin. Chuck me that towel. That kind of thing. Right, that smells good. Let me just give it a stir. While that's going, my partner Sam should be home any minute, so let's see. Oh, hey, you're back. Hey, yeah, traffic was awful tonight. That's the word, actually. Traffic. When the roads are really busy and cars are barely moving, we say the traffic is bad or the traffic is awful, or you might hear someone say, I was stuck in traffic. Poor Sam. What are you making? Just a stir fry. It'll be ready in about 10 minutes. Do you want to lay the table? So to lay the table means to put out the plates, the cutlery, all of that, ready for eating. It's a really common phrase around dinner time. Can you lay the table, please? Thanks, love. Okay, while Sam's doing that, let's talk about another phrase. When food is nearly ready, we often say, it's almost done, or it's nearly ready. You wouldn't really say it's almost finished for food. That sounds a bit strange in English, even though it's technically correct. Nearly ready or almost done sound much more natural. Right, I think this is done. Let's dish up. To dish up just means to serve the food onto the plates. So I'm going to dish up, and then we can sit down and eat. Okay, dinner is done. Plates are in the sink. I'll deal with those later. To deal with something later is such a useful phrase for procrastinating politely, by the way. And now it's time to properly unwind. To unwind means to relax after a stressful or busy day. So after dinner, I like to unwind on the sofa for a bit. Sam usually watches something on his phone, and I like to either read or watch a show. Tonight, I think I fancy watching something. To fancy something means to feel like doing it or wanting it. I fancy a cup of tea. Do you fancy watching a film? Really common in British English, especially. Sam, do you fancy watching that new show everyone's talking about? Yeah, go on then. So, go on then is a lovely little phrase that basically means, okay, I'll agree to that, often with a small sense of being persuaded. It's very casual, very British, and honestly, I say it about 10 times a day. All right, so we're going to put the show on. To put something on in this context means to start playing it. A show, music, the kettle even. Can you put the kettle on is one of the most British sentences that exists, I think. While we watch a bit, let me just quickly mention something. Notice how I keep saying a bit, watch a bit, relax for a bit. That just means for a short amount of time. And native speakers use it constantly, instead of saying a short period of time, which sounds quite formal and stiff in comparison. Okay, we've watched an episode and now it's getting a bit later, so I think it's time to start winding down for bed. Winding down is similar to unwinding, but it specifically refers to that process right before sleep, dimming the lights, maybe having a herbal tea, that kind of thing. Let's go do a bit of tidying first. To tidy up just means to make a space neat and organized. I like to tidy up the living room before bed. Otherwise, I wake up to a mess, and that's not a good start to the morning. So let's tidy up the cushions. Put the blanket away. To put something away means to return it to where it belongs, by the way. And now that's looking much better. Right, before we head upstairs, I just remembered it's bin day tomorrow, so I need to take the bins out. To take the bins out is such a classic household phrase, and honestly, one of those little jobs that always seems to be forgotten until the last possible minute. In American English, you'd probably say, take out the trash or take out the garbage. But here we say, take the bins out. Okay, so on my way to the bins, I got a bit sidetracked because I noticed the plants needed watering. To get sidetracked means to become distracted from what you were originally doing. And honestly, it happens to me constantly around the house. I'll go to do one small job and end up doing 3 completely different ones instead. Anyway, I gave the plants a quick water, and now let's actually deal with the bins properly. Okay, bins are out. That job's ticked off. To tick something off just means to complete a task on your list, like literally putting a tick next to it. I've ticked off everything on my to-do list today is a very satisfying sentence to be able to say, not that it happens often for me. While I'm up, let me just check my phone quickly. I know, I said I was winding down, but old habits die hard, meaning it's difficult to stop doing something you're used to doing, even when you know you probably shouldn't. So let's just have a quick scroll. To have a scroll, or to scroll through your phone, means to move through content on a screen with your thumb. It's become such a normal part of daily English that you'll hear it constantly now. I was just scrolling through Instagram, or stop scrolling and come to bed, which actually is exactly what Sam just said to me. Stop scrolling and come to bed. All right, I'm coming. Keep your hair on. So keep your hair on is a funny old British expression that basically means calm down, don't get so worked up about it. It sounds a bit odd out of context, but it's still used, especially by older generations, and I picked it up from my mum. Okay. Phone away. To put something away again. We already covered that one. And now let's actually head upstairs properly this time. So one more little routine before bed. I like to lay out my clothes for tomorrow, just so the morning is a bit less chaotic. To lay something out means to arrange it neatly, ready to use. So I lay out my work clothes for the morning, which honestly saves me about 10 minutes of stress when I'm half asleep and running late. Then I set my alarm. To set an alarm is such a basic phrase, but I still hear learners say, I will wilt an alarm instead, which isn't quite right in English. We set an alarm, or we set a timer. Small difference, but it's the kind of thing that makes your English sound that little bit more natural. Right, now let's go brush my teeth and wash my face, get ready for bed properly. We already know from a previous video that we say have a shower, but for teeth we say brush your teeth, never wash your teeth. I hear that mistake a lot, so just a little correction there. No judgment at all, it's a really common one. Okay, teeth are brushed, face is washed, Moisturizer is on. And now I like to read for about 20 minutes before I actually go to sleep. It helps me switch off. To switch off, in this context, doesn't mean turning off a light. It means to stop thinking about work or stress, to let your brain properly relax. I really need to switch off this weekend is something you'll hear people say a lot. Are you coming to bed soon? Yeah, just finishing this chapter. I'll be there in a minute. I'll be there in a minute doesn't literally mean 60 seconds, by the way. It just means soon. And English speakers are famously a little dishonest about exact time in casual speech. A minute could easily be 10. All right, I think that's probably enough for tonight. I don't want to read too late, or I'll end up staying up, which just means going to bed later than planned. I try to avoid staying up too late on a work night, even though I definitely don't always succeed. So that's pretty much my evening routine. We came home, got changed, sorted out dinner, had a bit of a chat with Sam, unwound on the sofa, tidied up, took the bins out, had a little scroll on my phone, wound down, and now I'm off to bed. Let's do a proper recap of the phrases we covered tonight, with an example sentence for each one, so you can actually picture yourself using them. To be shattered. I'm absolutely shattered after that shift. To pop into somewhere. I popped into the pharmacy on my way home. A few bits. I just need to grab a few bits for dinner. A queue. There was a huge queue outside the cinema. Cheers, meaning thank you. Cheers for that. Really appreciate it. To kick off your shoes. I kicked off my shoes the second I got in. To sort something out. I need to sort out my paperwork this weekend. Leftovers. We've got leftovers from Sunday. Let's just eat those. To whip something up. She whipped up a quick pasta in 10 minutes. To chuck something. Just chuck your bag anywhere, don't worry. To lay the table. Could you lay the table while I finish cooking? To dish up. Dinner's ready, I'll dish up now. To unwind. I like to unwind with a book after work. To fancy something. Do you fancy a takeaway tonight? Go on then. Fancy a coffee? Go on then. Why not? To put something on, meaning to start it. Put the telly on, would you? For a bit. We chatted for a bit before heading home. To wind down. I try to wind down an hour before bed. To tidy up. I need to tidy up before guests arrive. To put something away. Put your shoes away, please. To take the bins out. It's Thursday, so the bins need to go out. To tick something off. I've ticked off 3 things on my list already. Old habits die hard. I still check my phone in bed. Old habits die hard. To scroll through your phone. I was just scrolling through the news. Keep your hair on. Keep your hair on. I'm coming. To lay something out. I laid out my clothes so I wouldn't be rushing. To set an alarm. I always set 2 alarms, just in case. To switch off, meaning to relax mentally. I really need to switch off this weekend. To stay up. We stayed up far too late watching that show. That's quite a lot of really natural vocabulary from one very ordinary evening. And that's honestly the whole point. You don't need dramatic situations to learn useful English. You just need real, everyday moments like this one. If even 5 or 6 of these phrases stick with you and start showing up naturally in your own conversations, that's already a genuinely great result from one video. If you enjoyed this style of video, let me know in the comments and tell me what routine you'd like to see next. Maybe a weekend routine, a grocery shopping trip, or a day at work. I really love making these vlog-style lessons, so your suggestions genuinely help me plan what to film next. Thank you so much for watching and for practicing your English with me tonight. If this helped, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.